I want to thank everybody for joining today's Valhallan Esports conference call. My name is Marty Flanagan. I'm the Vice President of Franchising here with Valhallan Esports, and I'm joined today by Matt Phillips, our Brand President. And, you know, we're here to talk more about and really answer questions and really give you some more insight and understanding on who we are, what we're doing. And when I host these calls, which we do every single week, I start off with going over the past, the present, and the future. So where were we at? Where are we at today, and where are we going? And Matt's going to be able to jump in and answer some of these questions as well. But the first 10, 15 minutes are really just going to be giving you this overview and a little bit more of an understanding of who we are and the direction that we're going. So, and talk about our revenue models. How does it work? How do we make money? What does this look like? What's the investment? We can touch on any questions you have today as well. So as I go through today, just know at the end, you're going to be able to virtually raise your hand. And when you virtually raise your hand, I will be able to unmute you, and you'll be able to ask whatever questions you have on your mind, and we'll be able to dive into those. So we have 35, maybe 40 folks joining us today. So as we go through today, just know that there is no such thing as a dumb question, a silly question, or even a question that needs to be repeated. More than happy to make sure you have clarity or more clarity today. So again, Marty Flanagan here, Vice President of Franchising with Valhallan Esports. Joined with me is also Matt Phillips, our Brand President. So we're going to talk a little bit first about this past. Where have we been and what brought us to today? Well, over the past 5.5, 6 years, we built the world's largest STEM education franchise, which did very well in 3 different countries, the U.S., Canada, and the U.K., did very well. We learned a ton with that, with more than 760 territories that were out there. And during that time, we also got involved with a competition and coaching style esports franchise and grew that. And we learned a lot through that as well. We learned how to make money with that and how not to make money with that. We learned a lot about obviously with Code Ninjas. And 2 key things that we learned is that kids will stay, our players will stay because of competitions, and parents will pay because there's a curriculum. So they're going to stay with us if there is some sort of enrichment program with this, not just dropping their son or their daughter off to play games. It has to be more than that. So there's a whole coaching side of this. There's a whole part of this that is really taking kids to another level. Esports in itself, and we can go on and on with this, esports in itself has a unique opportunity to develop certain cognitive skills and abilities and grow those within inside of kids, not just social interaction, not just coaching, because that's really critical as well, but there's more here. So over the past 5.5 years, we grew that franchise, did very, very well with it. We also beta tested this whole coaching and competition platform with the franchise for esports, found out what wasn't working. Beta tested that. Matt, obviously, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, you'll hear a story in a little bit here, but he actually owns a location, a Valhallan location, along with being our brand president. So over the last 6 months, we beta tested a new way of doing it because the old way wasn't working. That way that was going on for 18 months wasn't working. It wasn't profitable. Over the last 6 months, we beta tested a balanced education and competition messaging to parents. Same community, mind you. Same community, not a new community, not traveled across the country, same community, same parents. In the last 6 months, we've seen incredible results. In fact, over the last 6 months, produced more revenue than the prior 18 months, in just 6 months alone. So incredible results. We found out what works. We have the roadmap. We know how to make this work now. So we were launched as a brand about 90 days ago. Soon here, we'll be the only youth esports franchise in the entire world that's actually going to have data, numbers, math that shows you how this works. So bringing us to today, we serve our community in 6 different ways. We have our subscription model, which is our coaching and education competition model, where there's curriculum, they're on a league, they're playing on a team. So we're focusing on that team IQ, that game IQ, that player IQ, as they're working through different aspects of our curriculum, coming in multiple times per week. And then we also have 5 different single payment forms that we serve our community, which are our camps, our workshops, our parents' night out, our birthday parties, our pop-up tournaments. So we're balancing this idea of competition and education. So kids are still going to be having multiple opportunities to compete, be mentored, be coached, and at the same time, work through a flexible learning system curriculum that allows them to grow at their own pace, not having to try to keep up with the neighbor next to them, but really at their own pace and absorb the information. And we dive into this curriculum at our Discovery Days, which we host every single month, that you're able to be a part of at our corporate office in Houston, Texas. We also travel overseas. We just got back from London, had a huge Discovery Day. It was fantastic, great success, and it was very fun to be able to be interacting and connecting with folks over there and see how far along they are compared to the U.S. And where we're going to go in the future, I'm going to have Matt touch on that in a little bit, but I'm also going to unmute Matt here so he can introduce himself and also kind of give you some ideas on why he is doing this and why he's decided to be the brand president with franchising experience, executive experience in franchising, being an entrepreneur himself. Why did he choose to enter into this world of being the brand president and along with obviously running his own location? So Matt, thanks for taking some time today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Marty. It's exciting to be here and talk to you guys about esports and about franchising, two areas that I have just a huge passion for. I have been in franchising for over 20 years, have been part of some very large brands across the world, really, international brands that we built over the years. And, there's so many different ways to earn a dollar and so many different ways to be in business. And I really can't think of a more exciting way to be in business than esports. We're on the cutting edge. We're on the front of this wave. How many times would we have liked to have been the first at something that is really exciting, that is here to stay? So I'm very excited about that, being on the forefront and being on the wave of this exciting business opportunity. And, also being in a business where people are excited to see you. It sounds crazy, but, I've been in home service businesses and things over the years where customers just sometimes weren't very happy. But with esports and dealing with kids and gaming and fun, it's just an exciting business to be a part of.
Well, and we talk a lot about these different milestones, these different for our goals and our vision for the future. And we've made a recent acquisition, which was North American Esports League, which is a league, a platform. And I'll let Matt kind of explain it a little bit more. But now we also are just finishing up a couple more opportunities that more platforms that we're going to have. And these are solving problems out there. But I'm going to let Matt talk about kind of why that's important. And again, any questions that you have coming up, please write them down, because there's over 20 folks joined us today, and your questions are important. So if a question comes up, make sure you write that down, and because at the end, you'll be able to virtually raise your hand, and your question can be answered live. You're going to be able to ask your question, and when you ask a question, it's going to trigger a question for somebody else. So your questions are valuable to us, and they're important for us to answer. So if you have questions, make sure I just want you to be aware, at the end, you'll be able to virtually raise your hand. We'll be able to unmute you and answer your question. So keep that in mind. So going back to that, the North American Esports League that we recently acquired, and some of the other pieces to this that moving forward, we're looking at, we're very close to closing on a couple more opportunities. Matt, why is that important? Now, you run a location. You're in it every day. It's owned by you. You are the owner of that location. Why is this important as somebody who is running a location on a daily basis? Why is it important that we have these other platforms outside of Valhallan? And where's the value in that for our franchisees?
Well, this business, this industry is really evolving. I'm not sure if any of you saw, but FaZe Clan, who is a large esports organization, just went public recently. And an esports organization is one that is diverse, Not only do they have pro teams, but they also run a lot of streaming, put out a lot of content, have a lifestyle brand that teenagers and youth are really excited about. And that's really where we're positioning Valhallan. We are positioning Valhallan as an esports org that supports our franchisees in every aspect of esports. So we have developed, we purchased North American Esports League. We are about to purchase a large league, which is going to add 2,500 players to our league. The purpose in that is really for a couple of reasons. Number one, we want to add more competition for Valhallan. There are other franchises out there that just do this stuff internally, just have a franchisee play a franchisee. And, that can be exciting for the first week or two, but once you're playing the same person all of the time, it just doesn't, you're not playing the best that's out there. You're just playing, other people within a franchise. And so we want to be able to add the best competition and for our franchisees and their players to play the best competition that's out there. So we're not just internal. Number two, we want to really add epic national and world events. So every year we are going to have an epic national event where all of our players, not only from Valhallan, but from our league, get together through qualification and play each other face-to-face, just like you would in Williamsport for the Little League. So I don't know if any of you are watching Little League right now. It's on ESPN. It's really exciting. Having those kids travel from, Dallas, Texas to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, just is such an experience for that child and that family to give them an opportunity to do things that they normally wouldn't do as a family. And so we want to be able to add that excitement, that fun, and bring those players all together. I get asked all the time, why don't we just play virtual? And why don't kids just play in their rooms and play against other kids? Well, we have lost a lot of the social aspects to playing with each other as kids. We're all, focused on our phones and focused on our computers. And so it's important to get the kids out of the room. We do that with video games. As Marty mentioned earlier, the kids come in for the competition. We bring those kids in. But then we really encourage the social interaction, making friends, talking to your neighbor, setting up times for you guys to play together. We call it in esports world touching grass. We want them to go outside and touch grass together and be outside. So adding that social component is really important, and that's why we want to have these epic national and world events that are face-to-face. We also have a large network of players. So what's important about that is we create a safe environment for our players to play in. We monitor our channel of where our players play, and we encourage parents to have them stay inside of this safe environment. There's so many parents out there that, their child is playing up in their bedroom and they're not sure what games they're playing. They're not sure who they're talking to. And, they start to hear language coming out of their mouth and those kind of things. And so we want them to be in a safe, non-toxic, non-bullying environment. And so we want to create this ultimate network of players where they can play inside of this environment. And then lastly, we really want to create a path to scholarship. We start players at 7 years old, and they go all the way to 17 years old. And at that 15, 16, 17 age group, if they're inclined to and if they have the ability, we then have them play in showcase tournaments. And in these showcase tournaments, they're playing in front of college coaches, college recruiters, and we have a large partner in that space that makes sure that these players get noticed. And once they get noticed, then they're offered scholarships, full ride, partial scholarships at over 270 U.S. universities across the country. And then in the U.K., there's over 100 universities being offering esports scholarships. And so we really want to provide that path to scholarship, not only for gaming, but for other aspects within esports. So shoutcasting, which is the play-by-play announcing, video and graphics, support, being a manager. And so we teach all of these different aspects within our curriculum so that our players can be very well-rounded in esports and also have a really good opportunity to get scholarships. And I'll tell you, in our parent presentation, once we start mentioning this to parents and that this is out there, they get really, really excited. And, you know, as Marty said, what's important to the parents is the curriculum and to see results with their player, but it's also to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, where, you know, perhaps their player could then get into college for doing something that they love.
There's a couple of things that Matt mentioned that I just really want to touch on before we open this up to any questions. There's a couple of pieces to this. One, if you were hearing everything Matt said, he went over player IQ, team IQ, and game IQ, which are three really important aspects to what we do in terms of developing a player, and that is about being a human being. Developing the team and being coached, that's about developing each individual as a human being and how they work together as a team. Why is that so important? Because in the virtual world, we're the first, well, myself and Matt, we're some of the first parents ever that have to face gaming as also a social platform. So what happens in that world, and we all know this, there's something called e-courage, right? The virtual world doesn't have consequences to actions on how they speak to one another, and that's social interaction. Why is it important to be in person? Because it's communication through words is only about 25%. The rest of it is coming from body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, everything for eye contact. That's communication. Virtually, there's no consequences to those actions, but in person there is. If I spoke to somebody the way some of these kids speak to one another virtually, I would probably get punched in the nose. In person, there's consequences to your action. When you go off to college, one of the biggest concerns that colleges are having right now with scholarships for kids is they don't know what it's like to be on a team, in person, on a team, working with a coach, working with a mentor. And a lot of these colleges actually have athletic psychologists that actually work with esports teams in colleges. So being in person is critical to actually how we develop those social skills, those communication skills, how they function as a team member in a highly competitive environment. How are they interacting? How do they handle winning? How do they handle losing? We're obviously working with them through that. Another part of it that you heard Matt touch on was called, he said, parent presentation. It's really important. We talk about camps, workshops, parents' night out, birthday parties, pop-up tournaments. Those are designed for one of two reasons. One, to expand the bandwidth of our current kids. The other is to take new kids, bring them into this environment and show them the value of how fun it can be and how exciting this is. All of that gives an opportunity for you to be able to give a parent a presentation to understand the value, because parents will stay for all that curriculum and that enrichment opportunity. Kids will stay for competition. And we have multiple levels of competition that are all vetted, that you have to apply. They're screened. We have a code of conduct. So we're solving a lot of those problems. That's why by us grabbing up some of these opportunities and platforms allows more screening, allows more vetting, and our code of conduct that is appropriate to be able to hit out there and get into these kids' lives. So when you hear that, what Matt was going over, there's a lot to unpack there. And I hope you have some questions. And all this is recorded. So just like our past calls, they're going to be on our YouTube channel. which are hosted there, that you're going to be able to go back and be able to listen to any aspect of this. But I'd also like to open it up to any type of questions that you have. Matt, before we open up to any questions, do you have anything else you'd like to share or anything else you want to go over before we go into either some frequently asked questions that we get or questions that are maybe out there right now or that folks are wanting to ask?
Yeah, we're really excited too because one of the things that's important about business is to give back to the community. And we've just nailed down some national relationships and national partnerships with a couple of organizations that I wanted to talk about. The first is Autism Speaks. If you're not familiar with autism, there's so many now that are kids that are on the spectrum. They get bullied for whatever reason, and a lot of those kids really enjoy video games. And so we are working on, ways that we can give back to the community. In my personal arena, I have 2 coaches that are on the autism spectrum, and they're fantastic. They're great with the kids. They're really into video games. They're laser focused on what they're doing. And so it's just been an incredible experience for us and our other coaches to be able to interact with adults with autism. But we also have a number of our players that are on the spectrum as well. And so not only has it fed a number of members into our arena, but it provides us an opportunity to give back to the community, something we're going to really rally around as franchisees together so that we're giving back to the community. And another organization is called Extra Life. Extra Life provides gaming experiences for kids that have childhood cancer. These are in hospitals all over the country with childhood cancer. And so we're really excited about this partnership, to be able to give back to our local communities. And so I'm hoping if you decide to join as a franchisee, that you will also embrace these partnerships and being able to give back to your community as well.
All right, so there's a lot that we love to share and talk about, but we also know that everybody's time's a little limited. We do host Discovery Days every month at our corporate office in Houston where we dive in deeper. We also love to travel to London inside the M25 or outside the M25. And when Matt and I just got back a little over a week ago, we love being out there and sitting down with folks. And we'll have our first location in the UK open probably in early September already. So that's really exciting. But we do have a couple of questions and love to be able to go after them. I'm going to unmute you. So if your name is in here correctly, I'll say your name and unmute you. But Edward, I'm going to unmute you and you can go ahead and fire away with your question.
Yeah. Hey, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. So I guess you guys just sent me the email and stuff, and I love everything that you guys are doing. I mean, I love the entire aspect of what you're doing, Valhallan. But what is the process of someone like myself who wants to become a franchisee with you guys and wants to get involved with either the coaching aspect or, I mean, I don't really understand everything that's going on. I've read a couple of emails from Marty, and this is my first session with you guys.
Oh, my word, this is great. This is a great question. The process is really simple, right? And we take a servanthood leadership, a servanthood approach to this, not authoritarian. An authoritarian is you do it my way or you're not welcome. And there's a lot of franchises that do it that way. We take a completely different approach than a lot of franchises out there where we want to make sure that we customize this process, this learning process with you. So if you're not a very experienced in the world of franchising, we want to walk this through it in the way you like to learn. So some of this is going to be through these calls that we're doing right now, where people would rather listen to these calls and then reach out and chat with myself or Matt. And then others would rather just get on the phone with me and walk me through every aspect of what we do. Happy to do that. We have Excel Performas. We'll be, like I said earlier, here in about three weeks, we'll be the only youth esports franchise in the world that's going to have financials, what's called an item 19 inside the FDD, that shows you the path to success. Only one. And that's pretty exciting. And we launched officially 6 months ago, and we'll be able to share some of that data in about 3 weeks, which is really exciting. We just have to follow some franchise laws that we have to go through. We'll be sharing that data, and that's going to be really exciting. So fast to be able to show you great numbers is pretty incredible. So the process that we're going to go through, depending on what part of the country you're in, when I say that, we can set up a chance to go one-on-one, and we can look at your market together because it's a territory selection process. I have a follow-up email that you get. It has tons of information on it. We have our discovery days that we host every month that you can be invited to. So it's a pretty easy process. It's just one that I like to make sure I'm doing it the way that you would learn from it the best.
Yeah, well, I mean that's awesome. I'm a restaurant owner on the East Coast, so I'm in New Jersey, and
nice.
I own a seasonal restaurant on the Jersey Shore, and my wife owns a year-round restaurant. But I was looking into the esports because I play Xbox. I play Borderlands with a bunch of my buddies all the time, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, all this stuff. Probably some of the games that aren't necessarily in the esports arena right now, which I would hope Borderlands gets in because that is just an awesome franchise. But I was looking into this when I got your Gmail, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really cool, because my wife and her sister, after Matt was talking about the Autism Speaks, I really, really am in love with that aspect of it, because my wife and sister both have kids on the spectrum. And my wife's son, my stepson, Mark, he is always online. And, when in this day and age, as Matt was talking about, the online presence and the social aspect of what kids are getting into at an earlier and earlier age is so important to get to them through that first, because like Matt said, they are getting a lot of BS through there and a lot of stuff and people that are really altering, affecting these kids' minds at a young age. And I love just the coaching aspect of that. And I'm sure there's a lot more as far as, the teamwork, team building, camaraderie, things like that we can go at and get kids in the online world, in the gaming world, and things that they love before they get attached to other people and other things that might drag
you're
a
exactly
more
right.
negative
You're
lifestyle.
Exactly right. And I'm going to touch on something really quick here, why this is scalable. We talked about everything you just said, some folks can take a step back and say, whoa, well, I'm not as educated as Edward is. I'm not that kind of a business owner. I don't have that experience. And that's okay, because we have a roadmap. So we have this curriculum. You're not having to hire professional coaches, professional gamers. They could have literally zero experience in the world of Valorant, and they could go through our Valorant curriculum as a coach, right? Get that game IQ down, because 90% of what they're going to be doing is going to be focusing on the kids and coaching the kids, not how good they become at Valorant. So
I love that.
That's why this is scalable. Your wife could literally, or your sister-in-law could literally get involved and not know a lot about the game, because their curriculum is walking the kids through the game. And the camps and the workshops create depth in those games. But the competition, the coaching, the mentoring, we talk about escapism as kids. They don't know why they're hurting. They go online. They stay online because it escapes from their home life, or their kids are bullying at school. And they want to remove themselves from reality, put themselves in virtual reality, and it's worse for them. There's an article that I send to everybody who inquires from Healthline that talks about how when it comes to repression, leads to depression, which leads to isolationism, which leads to really some bad toxic thoughts that happen within inside of kids. And that's a huge problem in 7 to 15-year-olds, and we have recognized that. That's why we team up with organizations like Autism Speaks. It is showing that we are in this for more than just having kids getting good at games. It has to be this constant message that we send out to parents to let them know this is not just about getting really, really good at Fortnite. It's much bigger picture than that. Yes.
See, and that really, that hits home on so many levels for me. I mean, growing up, I was diagnosed as attention deficit. So, I went to video games because I was always ahead in school, but it wasn't keeping me interested. So, I'll get picked on a little bit here and there because I was smart, but I was a little different, and I wasn't as in tune as everyone. I wasn't as, I didn't socialize the same as everyone else. So, I went to video games and things like that. But seeing my steps.
Forward to working with you. Great.
Oh,
I'm
all on board with.
I cut you off.
No, you're good.
No, talk about your stuff real quick, and then we have one more question. But I want you to finish your story.
Yeah, well, you guys can get to the questions. I'm on board 100%. I want to know more. I want to hear more. I want to work with you guys on this. Like, I'm very 1,000% interested in what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna message you. I'll message you, and once we're done here today, we'll set up a time to chat more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead and take other people's questions. I don't want to hold the mic.
No,
yeah.
I love it. Thank you. All right, sorry about that. I think you're unmuted now. Are you unmuted? Hang on. Nope, you're not. Let's do this. Yeah, I can hear you. Are you there?
Hello. Hello?
Yeah, I got you. There you are.
Thanks, gentlemen, for organizing this conference. So I have a question based on the current business service. And so in terms of the gaming platforms, I see that Valhallan is in console and PC. Is there any future plan to dive into the mobile esports scene, as I think it's getting pretty huge now?
Matt, do you want to chat? Do you want to go chat on that a bit, or would you like me to?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on the forefront of this industry, and so we're going to have to be able to stay nimble and be able to pivot and be able to give our players what they want and what they need. And so we've actually done quite a bit with the new mobile Rocket League game, and our kids have a lot of fun with that. I imagine that there'll be a lot of things that we'll do, with mobile. I think there's probably definitely things that we're going to do with VR. As VR gets better, the technology gets better, the price comes down, there'll be more and more that we'll do there. So part of being a part of a franchise is the good thing is that you don't have to know everything or keep your nose to the ground about everything. We have experts and our executive team that does nothing but keep our ear to the ground and develop partnerships with different companies that are out there that are cutting edge. We're also piloting different programs so that we don't just guinea pig our franchisees and just throw something on top of them that we haven't tested and don't have the data on. So I appreciate you bringing that up. It's absolutely an exciting space. It's easy right now with console and PC. And primarily all of our games and all of our competitions are done on PC. But it's not to say that others won't be added here near in the future.
One thing I want to touch on real quick is that's something that Matt just talked about that I want to there's a little bit of value on here, which is when he talked about pivoting. Our curriculum that is 18 months is full IP. Right? So nobody else can do it, use it. It's just ours. We own it. We built it. And our team that we have about 45 team members. And that team has teachers. It has retired esports pros. It has community-focused esports experts. So what we're doing in this curriculum, we always talk about this, is complete but never finished. We are able to pivot based off our curriculum, based on our program, because we own it and we developed it, and those team members work for us. They're on our payroll. They're not hired out. They're not an organization out of Sweden. They're not from overseas in Europe. Nothing bad with those. But when they're here in our corporate office in Houston, Texas, we can move quickly with them, get things done faster, have meetings, and discuss the different opportunities and how we pivot as a company based off of what's working, what's not working. Camps, workshops, birthday parties, parents' night out, pop-up tournaments. We have the roadmap for that. You know exactly what to do the first 90 days. What are you doing after that? How do you do a grand opening? How do you do a soft opening? How are you doing your pre-sale? How are you doing your marketing? Beta tested it for years and years and years. We know how to market to parents. We know how to market to esports professionals. esports players. We just, this is a program that you're going to be following that process. That, again, is shown to be successful. Any other questions? Anything else with that? Otherwise, I'm going to get to Prasad here. I just want to make sure that we got your question there. You good? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna mute you now. All right, a little bit of an issue. We'll get it. All right, Prasad, you have a question?
Hi, Marty. I have a son, right, and I really wouldn't want him to play esports for long hours because it's just unhealthy. And already the lifestyle a lot of kids have is generally unhealthy. At least in the UK, you can see that obesity trends, and that's all over the world in general. In this kind of climate, what would make parents to get really convinced that they should let their kids play esports?
Prasad, I'm trying to understand that question.
I think I got it, Marty.
Okay.
Yeah, so I completely understand that, and that's something, when a parent comes in off of an advertisement and sees that, we do esports, there's a couple of reasons why they get excited about it. Anything we do, we want to do in moderation. Even if we're doing traditional sports, we want to do that in moderation because we've got to let our body and our mind heal, between practices and between games. So with the parents, it's a parent's responsibility to parent their kids and to, give them moderation. They come into our arena for an hour and a half to 2 hours per week. Where not only are they coached on the game, but they're also coached on life skills, communication, teamwork, sportsmanship, things that they would learn in traditional sports that some kids don't hear because they're not in traditional sports. A lot of gamers that are really interested in the games maybe don't like to play traditional sports. So where are they going to get those life skills from? Well, the important thing is that, in order to get into a young person's mind, we have to get down on their level. And by getting on their level with the game, with mentors who are, background checked and are great coaches and have gone through training, they're able to then, once they get on their level, able to pass on these important life skills to these gamers. We're not asking our gamers to play all day long every day. You don't need to do that. You need to do things in moderation. But when they're in our arenas, we make sure that they're safe, it's non-toxic, and they're in an environment where not only are they going to learn the game, but they're going to learn, these life skills. So that's really on the parent to decide how much time in gaming that they're going to allow their kids to play. They're going to game anyways, so it's a matter of how much time they're going to allow them to play. What are the rules of their house? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. It does.
And just to add to that as well is a lot of times when I hear that question come up, which is very valid, my wife asks it on a regular basis, it really comes down to understanding also why. Like, why don't you want your son or your daughter to be gaming more? And that's a really important question that we like to ask, not because we're trying to say that you're doing something wrong, but a lot of times there's a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of information that's just not correct. And there's a lot of information that is correct. Well, we want to make sure we can help kind of sift through that and say, okay, well, what part of this is valid and what part of it's just not truth? And what part of it is truth, but maybe it's a problem on an open platform, not an enclosed platform that has a vetting process, applications, and is monitored. And putting your son or your daughter in a safe environment. So there's a lot of that we walk parents through as well, and pride ourselves on parent communication, not just saying, yeah, you're right, they shouldn't game, but why? What part of that? Should they not be playing too much football or too much soccer or too much volleyball, or what's happening out there that we also think of that as they shouldn't be doing? And so we want to make sure that we're able to educate parents and have them understand. And some of it's very, very valid, and some of it is just not correct information. And we want to make sure we can help with that. So, so I appreciate the question. Go ahead, Matt. Yeah, go ahead.
To that point, because, he brings up a really good point and, questions that we get. One of the questions along with that is first-person shooter games like Fortnite or Valorant. And some parents really have an issue with first-person shooter games. So we have Rocket League, that is basically cars playing soccer, which is a large international esport that parents that may have religious beliefs against first-person shooters or just don't want their children to play that have that option. And while they're in there for Rocket League, they're not hearing or seeing the other first-person shooter games. We also do a lot with Minecraft. We have homeschool groups that come in during the day, and then we also do Minecraft social groups in the evenings. And, we teach society. We teach how to build. We give them blueprints to build different structures. We do build versus build, where we have teams building against each other. So we do provide a lot of opportunities for parents and kids that may have certain beliefs within video games, which is completely fine, to give them an option to be able to come in and play as well.
Mark had a question about, and you can touch on this briefly. I know we go over this in detail on Discovery Day, but if you could maybe do like just a really quick recap on what, as an owner, what is your day like? So Mark had that question. Mark, I'm not sure where you're located at, but Mark had a question just like, what does a day look like? If you could give just a real quick ESPN highlights of what does kind of it look like for a day in the life of an owner inside of a Valhallan?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a 1,300 square foot facility arena here in just north of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a place called Cornelius, Lake Norman, if you're familiar with the area. And we have about 125 kids that come in weekly that pay a membership, and it's recurring revenue for us. We also do Parents' Night Out on Friday nights, and then we do boot camps and camps during the weekend, birthday parties during the weekend, and also summer camps as well. So non-summer, the life of a franchise owner is you really don't open until about 4:30 or 5 in the evening, and we are open until 9 o'clock in the evening. So 4:30 or 5. Monday through Thursday evenings is when we really concentrate on our curriculum and our practices. So we have certain nights during the week that we will practice, and then we play a North American Esports League match right after those practices that are kept in standings and are done through league play. The league play is 8 weeks, and then we have 2 weeks of playoffs. So sometimes we're doing playoffs on a Friday or a Saturday. But most of the time, so Monday through Thursday, you're in there, or you have a manager in there from 4:30 until 9. Friday nights are our birthday parties, or we do Parents' Night Out, so you're usually in there from like 6 to 9. Or again, have a coach in there. I have a coach or a manager in my facility, so it's almost completely passive for me. I just go in and have fun with the kids and talk to the parents and help out where needed. But usually the business runs a lot better when I'm not there because the manager and the coaches do such a good job. And then on Saturdays, we'll have lots of birthday parties. Those are very profitable for us. and we'll run boot camps where we'll do maybe we have a special pro coach that comes in from the Charlotte Phoenix, which is our local pro esports team, that's teaching our Rocket League kids for 2 hours on Rocket League. And we'll charge a fee for them to come in and be a part of that boot camp. So it's really, you can do this really while keeping another job if you wanted to, or work at another job for a while. Because it's in the evening times, because you can hire a manager to run the day-to-day in the evenings. It's very low overhead because you have 1 to 2 employees that are in there in the evenings. These are high school and college-age kids typically that are doing the coaching. Sometimes you'll have a really good parent that's a gamer that wants to be a coach. And then, birthday parties are pretty easy because they're, just getting the kids on the games, letting them play. We do some themed birthday parties with Rocket League or Fortnite or Minecraft, NBA 2K or MLB The Show, those kind of things. So it's, the great thing about the curriculum is as soon as the player comes in for practice, they're working on their curriculum for about 30 minutes or so. The coaches are just kind of leaning over their shoulder, helping them with any questions that they have, and then they take them into a warm-up and coaching session, and then we get right into our matches. So that the training and the programming go by pretty quickly in the evening. I get when I do go in, I get there around 5 o'clock. Everything's already set up, ready to go. Kids are in there. I have fun. Next thing you know, you blink and it's 8:30, and everybody's kind of heading out the door. So
awesome. And Joshua Weatherspoon has a question as well. Josh, and I'm sorry, the actual Q&A function just shut down on me. So if you do have a question, go into the chat and let me know if you have another question, and then I can unmute you after you let me know in the chat. But Joshua has a question. We're gonna unmute you, Josh. Are you ready to go? All right, Joshua, you ready to go? Fire away.
All right, gentlemen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again, like everybody's saying, thank you for taking the time out to do this kind of a call with us. My question is more about like a first-time franchisee person. Could you kind of touch upon like what the selection process will be about? I know that you were saying that there's a territory situation that we have to look into, but is it more of like a, hey, I'm ready to go, we're ready to go, we can get this going together, or is there a selection process that needs to happen?
There is definitely going to be a selection process because I would want to make sure you knew you were a great fit. Like I wouldn't want you to get involved and then all of a sudden I want you to understand, our drive, where we're coming from, our core values. Like for example, coming to Discovery Day is it's not required, but it is something that you're going to find extremely valuable to actually meet the team, be there with the team, and understand that. So there is, it's not where, hey, I have the money, therefore I'm qualified. It's more of, great, you have the money, now let's figure out if we're a good matchup, because we believe in trust and profitability. So you have to trust us. We have to trust you. And we're giving you, this is our brand just as much as it is your brand. We're giving you one of our babies. You need to execute the model. We have to trust you. You have to trust us. And there has to be that profitability factor. Trust is only going to go along so far if you're losing money every day or if you're breaking even, and that's all you're doing is breaking even or losing money. You're only going to trust for so long, and then you're going to be like, yeah, great, Marty, but now what's going on here, right? So there's that trust and profitability that we are founded on. And we want to make sure that as we go through this together, that you see that and feel that, and we're a good fit with one another. Is that helpful? That makes sense?
Yes. And let me just point out, too, thank you, Marty, for sending over those email questions to me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, Joshua. Yeah. Okay, now I remember the email. Yes. Yes, you're in California, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Well, I look forward to talking with you.
Yes, I look forward as well, too.
Awesome. Have a good day. All right. We have also Greg Fogarty who has a question. Best accent in the world. Go ahead, Greg.
Marty, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. Hey, two questions for you, Marty. One, I don't think I've addressed this with you before when we've spoken, but what about novice gamers, people who don't really know anything about video games per se, apart from watching my two kids play them? And that's the first question. The second question is, what day in each month are the Discovery Days? Because I would need to start planning that out. I think I would want to get down to one.
Yeah, I would agree you should. I'm going to let Matt tackle the first part of your question, the first part of that. The second part, we have them at the end. Well, we have them every month. Like, so, for example, next Thursday we have a Discovery Day. It's on the 18th at our corporate office in Houston, and then we have another one in September. It's typically the second week in September. I can get you the exact dates. We were going to have it on a Wednesday, but I think we're going to shift it to a Friday so that it's easier for folks to get in and out without having to get pulled out of work. So, but I can get you the exact date for September. I mean,
yeah, September and October, if you could, Marty. Give me an idea in October, and I'll see which one I can get to.
Yeah, for sure, I can do that. I'll let Matt go after the first part of your question there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a business partner in my business, Jim McDonald, and I presented this idea of a esports franchise to him when we were doing our morning walks and just kind of talking about life in general. And when we were talking about the opportunity, neither of us are gamers. No, we don't play. The only game I really like to play is PGA Tour golf. And I play that against a couple of dads, that are in there, and, we'll play golf. And I'm not even good at that. I just enjoy playing. My kids were really into gaming. If you've heard some of my other calls, I have a 15-year-old high-functioning autistic son who's really into gaming, and I was trying to figure out a way to teach him business and mathematics in a way that wasn't sticking a book in his face, because he doesn't like to learn that way. And so I was trying to come up with a business that would work, for us. And esports, once I ran across it, seemed really exciting. We had the same fears when we went in. How are we gonna show kids how to play games, and we don't know how to play these games?
Right.
Very quickly, we realized that hiring a coach is probably one of the easiest things that you'll have to do, because it's like the dream job for a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22-year-old to be able to come in and teach the video game that they love to play. So it's really a dream job. So we have, as soon as we placed an ad, we had, potential coaches at the door. Then it was a matter of, okay, well, these are the life lessons and what we want to teach as well, in addition to the game. Are you interested in that, in teaching that? And then we're going to train you on those kind of things, because we understood that. We understood, because we have a little bit of a background in playing those in high school and things, we can think of coaches or adults or mentors in our life that made an impact to us and said some things that made an impact to us. Whether it was about communication or sportsmanship or how to work as a team. We learned some of those things in business and through different things, life lessons that we've learned over the years, whether they're good life lessons or bad life lessons. We've got those life lessons that we can impart to our kids. So we took the coach who knew everything about the game, and then we taught them about life lessons and the things that we wanted to teach. But we were able to do that through our curriculum. So all they're really doing is starting the curriculum. The kids are in there and they go through it, and it teaches them everything that they need to know in a structured environment. And then the coach is able to just kind of go right into the game and teach them skills within the game, and then get them ready for competition. So You do not need to know anything about gaming. All you need to know is that this is a great industry to be in. It's a lot of fun, and you can have a huge and dramatic impact in kids' lives. And if you love kids and you want to make an impact in kids' lives, I can't think of a better business to be in.
Awesome. All right, Greg. Do you have another question, Greg, that came up in there, or you?
No, that's a good overview. It's just like I said, I watch my sons. My sons play sports and they play video games. They're into both. And but we have a neighbor kid down the street who is on the spectrum and really, spends a lot of time playing video games. And my son gets along with him just because they have in common that they like to play video games together. And again, I don't know a ton about it, so that was kind of part of what piqued my interest with Valhallan, is the idea of being able to control the environment a little bit, because I'm sure there are parents out there that have the same apprehension that I do. My son is playing video games in his room, and I don't know who he's doing it with or who he's talking to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one area that I see as hugely beneficial. But no, that's helpful. That's a good overview.
Awesome. Thank you.
By the way, you are going to become the coolest dad ever with this business. Your kids love you. Their friends want to come play. They talk about you in school. Oh, your dad has that esports business. He must be so cool. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And now we have Nadia has a question. Nadia, I'm going to unmute you. All right, Nadia, go ahead. Can you hear me? No?
Yes,
oh, there you are.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm just going to step outside. Absolutely running camps right now. Just before I ask my question, I can piggyback on the no gaming experience. I'm not even. I mean, I came to this call. We already have a gaming center that's been running since COVID, and our teams do participate in NAEL. But I'm sort of looking for maybe some resources for curriculum, marketing, and just came to kind of see if there's any. We don't need like a turnkey franchise type, because we already have the space, we already have things sort of in motion, but we kind of want to take it to the next level. So that's sort of what I just kind of wanted to hear what else the franchise could offer. But as far as the questions regarding having any gaming experience, I'm a mom of 4. I have no gaming experience. I'm not a gamer at all. But I've been running as like the manager, owner for since COVID hit in 2020, which is exactly when we opened, 2 days before they shut everything down in 2020. So it's been tough for us because of all the restrictions, and we live in California in Marin County, and the restrictions have been ongoing, a lot more conservative than much of the country. So, and you don't need any gaming experience. I have a really strong staff of coaches that have come in and out. My kids game, and sometimes the kids ask me what I play, and I say nothing, and they're like, well, how do you know so much? You just learn. You learn a lot on the job and being here watching it. So I can talk a good game, but I don't game. So you can definitely run this business without having any gaming experience whatsoever. Anyway, so that's why I'm just curious.
Oh, did we lose her?
Awesome. Yeah, Nadia runs a great business out in California and always has very competitive teams in our North American Esports League, and has won a number of our events. So, Nadia, if you could still hear us, we can definitely jump in with you offline and talk to you about some of those questions that you had initially.
Yeah, I think. Well, hang on a second. She might. Let me see if I can unmute her. There, Nadia, are you back?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I got you back. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
You're back.
I don't know.
No,
completely
yeah, it's okay. No, totally fine. No, what was those questions? getting all excited for the questions, and then we lost you.
I know, it's really just, I mean, are there any, we're, like I said, because, we feel we have something really, really incredibly powerful here. This business has impacted so many kids' lives, and we're just starting to gain momentum. I mean, we are just coming out, for us, the pandemic is still, sort of still, like, just coming out. A lot of other centers in the country have been, doing what we're doing now for many months, and we've still been dealing with people afraid of coming indoors, and so this is like our first real summer, and, we tripled what we did last summer, but, I'm doing a lot of it myself right now, and a lot, as far as I have a lot of young staff, which they're great, but in terms of creating the curriculum and, really making it legitimate for the parents and so the parents can, see that they're, like, I was listening to the recording from the call you guys did in June, and that resonated, because it really does, the parents need convincing that this is something that, something concrete that they can see that their kids are learning. Once they get here and they do it, they see it, in action. But trying to convince them initially, a lot of them, to get in and spend money on esports as opposed to lacrosse or soccer, it can be a hard sell for some. But once they get in here, it's life-changing for a lot of these kids. And, we don't want to throw in the towel, and we want to take it to the next level. So we're adding coding programs and STEM, and so I'm just seeing if there's any connections that can be made with, with you guys, like I said, we don't need the whole startup thing, but I don't know if I'm in the wrong place for this, or, something we can talk offline about, but that was really what I'm asking about.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be something we can take offline and chat on to see if there's what kind of opportunities are there, for sure.
Okay, terrific.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I appreciate those questions. If anybody else has any questions, this would kind of be your time to throw something in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wind down today. And keep in mind, you can always reach out to myself or Matt. Yeah, to keep it really easy, you can just go to franchise@valhallan.com or matt.phillips@valhallan.com, franchise@valhallan.com. That is if you have more want to talk a little bit more about the process, becoming a franchisee, what it's, that is kind of where we're going to go with the franchise side of it. So if you do have questions, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm more than happy to give up my cell phone number if you want to shoot me a text at 763-516-3578. You can shoot me a text. We can arrange a time to chat as well. Otherwise, I want to say thank you for your time today, and we look forward to working with you more in the future. And again, these calls are all recorded and hosted on our YouTube channel for you to listen to in the future. Matt, any last words before we wind down today?
No, thank you guys for all of your time and great questions today. We're excited about this business, as you can tell, and the passion in our voice. We look forward to meeting you in person at our Discovery Days, and we promise we'll get every question answered in your due diligence so that you can make a good decision and something that will impact the rest of your lives. So thank you so much, and have a great day.
Wonderful. Thanks for your time, everyone. Have a good day.